Hi, in the last session, I talked about the growing deeper strong in its format and how the basic overview of the course. That's what I'm trying to say. In this session, I want to talk about the course structure of the growing deep and strong. We talked about in the last one, growing deep and strong is it's a basic course and an advanced course, which will become known as the leadership course. It's a 19 to 37 week discerning if you pick it up the whole program, and it's made up of 4 modules and 2 encounter weekends where people experience the healing power of God. So let's dive into the structure of the course. So the first one is the setting of Growing Deep and Strong has been designed that it can be run as a one-on-one or as a small group or as a classroom setting or on Zoom calls. I mean, many times before Zoom and all of those things, I've been running it by phone. So I would just do the setting, do the presentation, which I'm about to explain to you, by phone. You can do it in a coffee shop. You could do it in a lunch breaks. You could do it after work or before work or whatever works for you and your disciples. That's the simple part about it. The theme of each session is presented in 3 different formats, allowing for every disciple or student, if you want to use that terminology, we use the term disciple, to receive each session in the manner that best suits their learning process. So we want to cover all of the learning, how everybody learns differently, and we want to cover all of that. So the first format is a verbal presentation with an opportunity to take notes for those who receive information by hearing. So in this case, it's a verbal presentation. You present the topic, they just listen to you. And on average, they're about 25 to 30 minutes. So there's a verbal presentation of the topic. In the second format is the disciple reads the same material in what we term as the personal discovery section, and they complete the fill-ins in their own time. So what that means in that session, they've heard the topic. Now they go home and they study that topic. So they look up the Bible verses that we're talking. There's fill in, so they've got to fill in the verses, so they can't cheat the system. They can't do any of that. They've actually got to go and physically look up the Bible verses and physically fill in all the gaps and the missing bits in what it is. So that's for people, that's their learning process on how they do it. And that's usually over a week, recommended 10 to 15 minutes per day. So they do it as a style, not just trying to cram it all in. It's not school, it's not exams, that's what it's about. This is about creating a lifestyle of reading the Bible. And the last format is by group review and discussion so that the disciples can process the topic through discussion. So they listen to the topic, they study the topic, and they come back as a group and they they discuss the topic. So it really covers all of the learning processes that it is. The ideal time frame, we've found that most successful meetings have been where we come together as a group and follow this particular session format. So for group bonding, I recommend that, we've found this works really well, is that everyone meet for a meal prior to the teaching and the studies, if that works for you. And this has helped the disciples tremendously to develop friendships in a natural, relaxed environment. And the duration for that can be about 45 minutes to 60 minutes. So we've done this in many different ways. When we were trialing that in the church I was in at that time in another city, is that what we did is that the church paid for them, we just bought in pizzas. So all the people would come together, and that first group, as we tried, it was about 35 people. And so in that group, they'd come in. We made sure we put name tags on everybody so people could feel comfortable about names. And as the leaders, so there was myself as the presenter, and then the leaders in training, and I had one leader in training for every five new disciples. So we would just mix and mingle with them and let them chat or whatever. So over that journey of the 20 weeks, they became good friends. That was the powerful part about it. And the great part about it is that by coming in and having a meal together, they were able to leave the day behind and all the cares of the world or whatever might have been happening in their life, and separate that from that. And also, the reality of humanity is we all wear masks. So people come into a meeting and you say, hey, oh, good, great. Yeah, I'm going great. Yeah, lie. Right. So what happens over that meal is that you can break through those barriers, because it's pretty hard to be continually stuffing your face with pizza and stuff and be fretting and worried about the world and whatever. The point I'm making is that the meal was a great icebreaker between whatever the cares of the world or the day was or work or whatever to this new group. Because all of us have experienced times when you come into a meeting and your headspace is somewhere else, and you don't want that. And so it takes time for people to do that. And as I said, people have got masks up. The other thing is we've run it in our home, and we've had others run it in the home. So people then in that situation where we'd have a meal together, everyone would bring a plate to share the food. And we got it down to where we would fine tune. Someone bring a salad, someone bring some meat, someone bring whatever. So there was the uniform there. But the main part about this is it's not a cooking competition, ladies. Make it really, really simple, because all of this needs to be, can I duplicate this? And if people are poor cooks, they're going to go, and you're a great cook, they're going to go, oh, I can't have any meetings. I can't run this because I can't cook. You don't want to. You want to remove all the obstacles that they have. All right, so where are we? So let me just go to the next page. All right, so where are we? Okay, so now let's look at the materials. And I think the easiest way for me to do this is I'll share my screen in a minute. So let me just cover some things, and then we'll share the screen. There are two manuals, one for the students, or what we call the disciples, and one for the instructors, or as we call the coaches. So the coaches manual, so let me just grab my screen. So I've got to open it up here. So let me just get these open, and I'll just make sure I can share my screen. That one there. All right, so hopefully that you can see my screen, and I've got this one, Why Jesus Came, and I've got both of them sitting here. I've got this one, that's the coach's manual, and then I've also got the disciples manual. So let's use Why Jesus Came. This is session 4, so let's use that. So I'll just scroll up a bit. And I'll just make this page a bit bigger so you can read it. So this is the verbal presentation for the coach. So you can see here the estimated presentation time is 30 minutes. So we've told you in your own relaxed manner to do that. What I recommend for you as a coach, and basically anybody can read this out if you do a couple of things with it, and is that I go through the manual and this is what I do, and I recommend you do the same. I read it out loud first a couple of times. So then what I will do is I will get a pencil, and I'll put some pencil marks in this. So in this, for example, I'll go in this session and I'll put a little pencil mark just in there. We want to look at another pencil mark, why Jesus Christ came. And then I'll put down here at the end of that 3 pencil marks and a little note there, pause. So in other words, when I read it back, I'll go, in this session, we want to look at why Jesus Christ came. Pause. We will include 1, how God originally designed man. Right, so I'll put pencil marks through that so that I pace myself and all the words don't all flow out in one big burst. And also, it helps you just in your own place to do it, to be able to read it out properly. It's your choice on how you make it work, but definitely read it out beforehand and to make it easy. So that's how your manual looks on every one of the topics. This is the verbal presentation. Now, in the disciples manual, let me just move this page. This is what their page looks like. So they've got it that way. So as I said, this is a verbal presentation. They just listen and take notes if they're note takers, or some people don't take notes. They can receive the information audibly. They can, in fact, if they want to, close their book. It's whatever works for them. But the main thing is this is a one-way dialogue. You're not entering into conversation. And I'll show you why in a second. Just verbally present the topic to them so they can hear it. All right. So the next thing that takes place, and I'll come back to the, oh no, I'll use them. I'll use their manual. So let me see which is the best way to do this. Let me just scroll this up so you can see all the notes that are there. Okay, so this section here is what we now term as the personal discovery. And the little image there, you can see there, you've got a Bible, opening up a Bible and studying the Bible. So this in here, it's again, I'll just make this a bit bigger so you can read this. Okay, so it's the amount of time for disciples. That print there is just, it's not something that's read out, that's just there. And then you can see that's 65 minutes. So we're recommending that over the week, whether they're morning people or evening people, but they actually spend 10 to 15 minutes each day studying the word. So let me come back. So you can see here with this verse, and I'll just use this verse. This is so setting the scene. So we've got a brief there. So we've done an outline beforehand. Because appreciate your audience never picked up a Bible as ever in their life and don't understand the background. So we run some commentaries like this beforehand, right? So that to give them enough information, a background history of what it is. But we limit our comments to it and keep it relevant to that and let the Bible speak for itself. Let it talk to them. So you can see here it says turn to Matthew chapter 1, 21 to 23, page 121, and then in brackets here N1355. Now, the reason why this has got two sets of numbers, and that's the page numbers, of course, is that this is the new version. So that's the one that they'll be actually looking up from now on. But some people may have and this is actually the third edition of this Bible, and I've got all three. I've loved this Bible for many, many years, and I've just about worn two of them out. So what happens is they'll look up the Bible verse, you can see verse 21, and it's got these little asterisks and stuff. I'll explain those shortly. And then they fill in the words. So they fill in all the words there, right? Go another page. Okay, so now this is, and I'll come back to this in a second in the Bible. This says read a footnote, and I'll talk about the features in this Bible in a minute. So then it says, what does the name Jesus mean? They've got to answer that from verse 23. What does Emmanuel mean? Why is he giving this name? So that's the questions. That's the questions that you're going to ask it. Now, here's the great part for you as the coach. You become the superhero. You become the Bible expert. Scroll through this. Let me go past these. Oh, by the way, let me just cover something here. So you're reading these out, right? So you're just following that. Sorry, I backtracked a bit, didn't I? So let me get rid of this. So you're starting off in the start of this. Let me just come back to the start. So why Jesus came. So you're just reading it out, blah, 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 blah. You don't read out the age. You just read out setting the scene. We need to understand why Jesus had to come to earth as a human, blah, 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 blah. Then you're saying here, follow the summary from the panel as I read. And then they got that in their verse, as you saw. Then you read out the Bible verses, that's down the side here. I just want to show you one little thing that's in here. Okay. So where the verse is short enough, we put the whole verse in there instead of just sitting down the side and this arrow. So in this you'd be going, John 10:10 could almost be called the mission statement for the rulers of the two kingdoms, the kingdom of darkness and the kingdom of light. Jesus Christ sums the mission up in one sentence by stating, and then you'd read that out. The thief's purpose is to steal and kill and destroy. My purpose is to give life in all its fullness. So that little arrow there indicates, for you to read the Bible verse in that. It's a cue. All right, so let me keep going. We scroll down, get to this thing. Where are we? All right. Okay, here's the great part about your manual. You become the expert. So your manual, the coach's manual, has all the answers filled in, right? So you've got all the Bible verses filled in. You don't have to spend the time looking them up. We've already assumed that you've walked it through. But in the case of what I said, with what's coming, and if you want to teach others immediately, you can pick them up and start teaching others. And you don't have to go through the disciples one to start teaching others, because we make you the expert. And here's what I mean. So here's what happens in yours. So what does the name Jesus mean? There's your answer. Jesus means Yahweh is salvation. Right? From verse 23, what does Emmanuel mean? God is God with us. Why was he given this name? Because he would save his people from their sins. So we put those answers in there for you as a group discussion. So let me now go to, I'll just scroll a bit more. I'll show you a couple of other things. So, and I'll cover these in the Bible, but there's things in this Bible. This is a great study Bible. So read the word wealth, love from Romans there. Look up the Bible verse. Complete the following sentence. So you're asking them to fill them in. There's a whole bunch of features in this Bible, which I haven't shown you yet, which I'll come back to those in a minute. Just want to go to the end of this section. Okay, where are we? All right, so this is the personal discovery review. So let me go to their manual as well. See if I can hurry this process up a bit quicker. All right, okay. So in their manual, these are the questions for the personal discovery review. So they've listened to the topic, they've filled out the bits and studied the Bible verses, etc. Now this is the questions. This is the coach will, and it says here, we'll discuss some of these questions the next time. We actually discuss all of them, right? Because we want them to understand. So that's what their manual looks like. So they've got, what does the name Jesus mean? And it's telling them it's on page 106. So it's almost like a cheat sheet for them in a sense, is we want them to understand these questions. And we want them to go back and have it as a discussion points. Now, in your manual here, you've got the note to the coach, and we're guiding you through that. And you can see here, there's some commentaries. Your role is to facilitate and encourage discussion on the personal discovery. Avoid being sidetracked into other topics that are not relevant to the session. You can arrange another time to answer those questions. 2, allow disciples to answer the questions or discuss without forcing them to talk. The atmosphere is one of willing participation rather than one belonging to a formal classroom. The numbers in brackets refer to the page where the question is found. The first number is for the coach's manual, while the other number in brackets is the page in the disciples' manual. If you find you have any who are having difficulty completing the personal discovery, follow them up personally and find out what they may be struggling with. Be available to help them complete it. Remember, encouragement is powerful. Okay, so here's your question. What does the name Jesus mean? Page 127. And then in their book, and always it's the lower number. That's the easy way to do it if you forget. The lower number is their number. That's your page number, that's theirs. So these are real, this all in here is really, really powerful in points. And, we're wanting to, to some of you, that will be obvious. Others of you learning how to be, a leader and whatever. These are keys to help you. Because some people want to hijack the conversation. Other people will really want to be quiet and not enter into the engagement or enter into the conversation. So just gently do it. And you'll find over the weeks, if you just allow it to flow, it'll become very normal and very easy for people to do that. There's one other page that we've got. I'll just show you one other thing here in the disciples. To keep everybody accountable, we've got this in here. This is the congratulations, you've completely, successfully completed this week. So you sign it off, you put your name down, sign it off, and date it. Now, the reason being for that, and let me just see. I'll just stop sharing for a minute and show you this. Where's me stop share button? Okay, so I'll hold this up to you. Is that in the back of each manual, we've got a certificate of completion. You can see this one is discipling others. So their name goes in it, your name, etc., and the dates. And that's perforated down the side here. So that can be torn out and put on a frame or whatever. So every one of the 4 modules has a recognition or a certificate of completion recognizing their achievement. So we want to build encouragement. We want people to feel good about the whole thing, etc., etc. And we've found that is very, very powerful, in the process. I can back to this again. So the powerful way with this, or one another reason for this, is it keeps them accountable to the topic, and you identify if they're actually doing it, because they can't cheat the system in this, in the sense that they have to fill out the topics. And also, yeah, that's right. So if people are struggling or unable to fill it out because they might be poor readers or whatever, or there's a whole bunch of readers, might be semi-illiterate or whatever, this is a way to identify those things. And we've found over the years that sometimes we've had to do one-on-ones with the people, and that has had dramatic impact on their lives when you've actually done a one-on-one with them. And they're just transformed. Actually, someone loves and cares for them. The other thing is with it, on just one more thing here on this page, is I've got an aha, I don't understand page. So if they've gone through the journey on their verbal presentation, they've got questions they didn't understand, they can put it on this page or on their other notes or whatever. And most times the answers are done, or they get the answers when they actually do the study, or they come back for the group discussion. Or the other half is there could be light bulb moments. Wow, this was fantastic. I didn't know this, right? So that page is great for interaction in that material. Okay. Now, sometimes Zoom is a bit clunky. So I'm just going to stop sharing there for a second. I'm going to change this. That's not the one I want. Okay, so let me just connect the Zoom. Oops, not there. So let me just find this. Okay, so where I'm heading with this is the Bible. Okay, so this is the New King James Spirit-Filled Light Bible. This is an amazing Bible. You may want to go online and have a look, because it's a bit hard to, maybe these images are a bit hard to read. Let me just try that one. Yeah, that's you can go to Thomas Nelson. They've got it also. Let me come back to this image as well. It's a bit hard to see, but this is an amazing Bible in the sense that there's word wells, there's kingdom dynamics, there's cross references down the center of it, there's footnotes here in the bottom of the Bible, there's here what's called truth in action. There's a whole lot of references in this Bible. This Bible is just an amazing Bible to read and study, and it's probably got, I looked it up, I think it's probably the general editor is the late Jack Hayford. He's since passed away, but he was the editor of it. Amazing Bible teacher, theologian. And also it's got about 60 to 80 that I can ascertain contributors, all good quality Bible scholars. So it doesn't have just one man's bias on it. It's got a whole balance of different contributors, adding all these commentaries, adding all of these kingdom dynamics that are in here. These are word well, so it's like Strong's little Strong's concordance, things that are there. Let me show you. I'll come back. I'll try something else because this is an amazing Bible. Okay, so I've got mine here. Let me just grab the one they use. So this is the version. This is the one that you look for online. So let me just open this up because this here is one of them. And this is what we teach them how to navigate. So that's called the Truth in Action. So that's got a whole lot of commentaries by Bible scholars there. If I just go, I've tabbed mine because it just makes it easier. So if I look at that page, every one of them has got an introduction and a history on that particular, book of the Bible. Let me just see. I won't find Matthew. Okay, so here's a great page. And we show them how to read this. So in here, you can see there's a word wealth here. So that's a Strong's Concordance and a description on the word. The one beside it in the blue, that's what's a kingdom dynamics. So that's a Bible scholar has actually done a example or a little mini teaching on it. In the center there, in the center column, they're all cross references. So every Bible verse will have other links to other Bible verses. And then also down the bottom, you can see here there's footnotes. So they're explanations. So explanations of the Bible verses. So this Bible is an amazing Bible to learn and grow. Oh, that's right. And this is the things about it. I love it. At the back, you've got a little mini concordance at the back of it. It's just such a fantastic Bible to learn. And I remember I was probably I think I'd had 4 Bibles before I actually got this one. And my wife had actually bought it. And I picked it up one day and I said, oh, what's all this? And I started to work. Oh, wow. When I worked out what it was, I went, this is like, wow, this is fantastic. And it transformed my journey. And sometimes I would literally spend 2 or 3 hours in the Bible because I learned how to follow the trail through the Bible. And that's what I actually wanted to show you here. So I'll come back to this. Yeah, okay. Just move that so I can take it back to these. So let's use this as a page, and I'll just make this super big for you. So hopefully you can read it. So I went to the trouble when we went to the trouble when we wrote this, is we put all exactly what the Bible verses said. So you can see there's a little A beside those. Down here, there's another one. Here, there's a little asterisk. Here, there's a number 1. All of those things are linked to the cross references or to the word wells or other things in that particular Bible. So we're teaching them the basics of how to study the Bible. And, we're talking about this is a 65-minute study over the week if you're running it that way. But the great part is this can equip them to go to extra studies just on this topic. So they could, this with miraculous signs and wonders, that by these little A's and that are there in these and this little 1, etc., they can go and look up and then what do they mean? And they can go and find other Bible verses with that. It's such a cool Bible to use. And just, as I said, your disciples will just grow like mushrooms. And you'll see them each week before your eyes, absolutely transformed. Now, how powerful is this? Well, 31st of January 2020, 2, I prophesied over a lady that I'd never met before. And for me, with prophecy, the proper protocol is to record it. So I recorded it for her and then emailed it to her. And that was the 31st of January of 2022. I lost track of her, didn't know where she was, whatever. I bumped into her at an outdoor open meeting in June, early June of the same year. She was interested in studying the New King James Bible. So I said, well, we use that in Growing Deep and Strong. And if you like, I'll personally walk you through it. So on the 18th of June, I began the discipleship path, the 20-week discipleship path with her. And we would meet in a coffee shop in an open public forum. And so we would just sit down, open the Bible, read the things out, follow the steps I just taught you. By the end of that year, she had completed that course, was completely changed, and every week she was just transformed before my eyes and just saw it because the word of God was just doing it. And then by the end of the year, she began discipling others, and I had no input in that discipling others other than just to encourage her to do it. So that's the power of this course, of what it can do if you follow the steps that we teach. And don't forget what there's my mandate. My mandate is to help you my mandate is to be a catalyst and facilitator in developing people to become leaders and disciples of others and create an environment that creates leaders that transforms nations. We have to get back to having societal reformers with a biblical worldview out there to change our society and get back on track. So let's conclude with a summary of this. So if we summarize the course summary, the bonding, so share a meal together to ascertain where everybody is at and build friendships, 45 to 60 minutes. The next thing is your personal discovery review. So actually when you come back, once you presented the first topic, the first thing is obviously you come back and you do a personal discovery of the previous session. And that's about 25 to 30 minutes that you do that. Then the personal discovery sign off. So you sign off the disciples manual if they've completed that personal discovery section. Then once you've done that, you now present the next topic with the verbal presentation. And that's not a discussion time, but it's a presentation for the next topic. And that's anywhere from 25 to 35 minutes. And then the next thing is the personal discovery section. This is when the Holy Spirit will minister to the individuals as they study the topic you've just presented. And on average, that's anywhere from 50 to 90 minutes. And as you diligently follow these guidelines that we've recommended, you will find your disciples will grow before your eyes and mature very quickly. So in summary, or in the last note, is the ideal group is about 5 disciples. So, and what per coach. So what we've done on the website, if you go to our website, growingdeepandstrong.com, and you want to be able to, or you'd like to be a coach and you want to start teaching others, we've created what we call a product pack called a New Christian Training Center. You'll see it called a New Christian Training Center. That's got 5 disciples packs in it and then 1 coach. And you actually get the coaches in that set. You get the coaches set for the basic course. You get that for free. So the New Christian Training Center's got 5 of the basic disciples course, includes all the manuals they need for the 20 weeks, laying the foundation, Power of Godly Character, the 2 Encounter Weekend books that they get, and you've got the same in the coaching for all of those, including how to run an Encounter Weekend. But that's a topic for another time. In detail, I can give you that. So I trust that that's helped in how Growing Deep and Strong and the course structure and how it can be run. So thanks for listening. Have a good day. Bye.